Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another exciting meeting at Interpersonal Toastmasters. Dancing. Dancing the poetry of feet is a wonderful topic that our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Kalpana, has brought. Let us hear what she has in store for us. Toastmaster Kalpana.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, and greetings of the day wherever you are. How many of you can dance very with an ease? Just raise your hand. Hey, Diana, thank you. Thank you, Susan. Okay, so this is for all the one who have not raised your hand and for the ones who raised their hand. Today, I'm going to talk about why we have to dance and where dance originated from. Let me tell you, dancing involves moving the body rhythmically. Often it is choreographed skill, usually to a music beat. Dance can express very much your emotions, your ideas as a form of performance. The presenter will be considering the audience, and people who dance are called as the performers who will be giving lot of expressions. Yes, they have much of their gestures. They have gestures which will be including their all hands, legs, eyes, eyebrows, every feature of their body will be expressing. Well, the art of dance has various forms throughout the world. Let me tell you how this dance was involved as per Indian dance book called as Panchama Veda, which is the fifth Veda of dance. It is said that like a 0 hour is present between every day, that is the end of the day and the day in other day that begins. Similarly, whole of these years are divided into yugas, and the 0 hour of the yuga where the one yuga is going to end and the new yuga is going to start, that is where people consider that they don't know how to spend their time, because we have some specific rules for day, we have specific rules for night, like we have specific rules for Saturday, Sunday, or any day. Even for 0 hour there is particular way in which we have to live, but this time period was not defined on how to live. That is when Lord Shiva has introduced dance. And he said that whenever you want to entertain yourself, when you want to express some of your feelings, that is when you have to dance. We can see a beautiful peacock just enjoying its dance whenever it starts drizzling or raining. We can see a small baby elephant moving its trunk because it saw its mother or it saw a pond of water. So today I'm going to tell you what are the 5 elements that we need to perform. We don't have to have a perform trainer or a choreographer. Let me take you through that. But before that, I would like to introduce the role players for today's meeting. Let me start with Toastmaster Susan, who is our timer. Susan, may I request you to please introduce your role?
Yes, I will be keeping track of the prepared speech as well as the table topics and the evaluator. There are minimum times that we expect the speakers to use. In Julie's case, it's 15 to 20 minutes. So I will be doing a green background when she reaches her minimum time, a yellow somewhere in the middle between that and the 20 minutes where she'll see red. For table topics, it is 1 to 2 minutes. So you will see green at 1 minute, yellow at 1.5, and red at 2, where you should be wrapping up. With the evaluations, it's 2 to 3 minutes. So you will see green at the 2, the minimum requirement has been met, yellow in the mid-range, 2.5, and red at 3. 30 seconds grace period at the end of each of the speeches, but that's to make sure that we have sufficient time on our agenda for everyone to fulfill their roles.
That's great. Thank you, Susan. Um, For anything to express, we need language, and to judge and to help us with language, we have grammarian Viveka with us. Viveka, could you please explain your role? Yes, you are okay. Meanwhile, while Viveka is coming back with her audio, I would request Swati to please introduce the role of our counter. Over to you, Swati, Toastmaster Swati.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So today I would be carefully noting down all the ahs, ums, and other filler words that most of us use in our day-to-day conversation. So, and at the end of the meeting, I would be presenting a report of how many ahs and ums we have used throughout the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Toastmaster Viveka. Okay.
Sorry, Kalpana, I guess my, sorry guys, I guess my laptop is not working properly. There's some problem with the keypad. And I was typing the word of the day and I'm unable to type. So I will type that. Good morning and good evening, everyone. I'm grammarian for the day. As my role as a grammarian is to note good usage of English language, as well as some bad usage of, not, I don't think so we are supposed to use the word bad, but not so right usage of English language. I will also take care of the words, idioms, metaphors, good sentences, well-structured sentences used by all the individuals here. Word of the day is at sea. It's an idiom. It means being confused. Example, I'm completely at sea with the new with my new alarm system installed at my place. So at sea means being confused. And I shall give it to Kalpana. I'm so sorry. I just got a little.
No problem. Could you please type the word of the day over the chat box when you are solving the issue of your laptop? So there are 5 universal elements of dancing. And the very first one is body. The body is the primary instrument of dance. Dancers may use their entire body parts or limit movement to certain parts. Professional dancers train their bodies to have exponential agility and strength. Let me tell you, one of the very difficult dance forms is the ballet dance performance, where a fine artist will spend years to get proficient at the art, and then we will be able to see a beautiful ballet performed by that particular artist. With that, we will move on to the next segment of today's meeting, that is prepared speech. And we have our speaker, one of the experienced Toastmaster Julie, who would be delivering her speech. Before I call upon stage Toastmaster Julie, I would like to call her evaluator, Toastmaster Namita, to please share the speech objectives of Toastmaster Julie. Over to you, Toastmaster Namita.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kalpana. Now, Toastmaster Julie's speech is titled What and How to Write. It is a Q&A session from the Pathway Presentation Mastery. So what and how to write, Toastmaster Julie, what and how to write, over to you.
Thank you. Do you see my chart?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Let me start with a favor to ask. I would like you to stop and anytime and write in a chat your question addressed to Susan, who is our timer. She's going to stop me at any time when she sees a chat question, and I am going to answer it. So let's start with the presentation. I have to admit something first and foremost. When I started to join Toastmasters and prepared for my speeches, I just wrote down some bullets and then played it by ear and never composed the text and never practiced it because I thought, well, I have been a teacher, an educator, and I had presentations in my life, so I don't need to do that. Wrong. Today, I am going to focus on what and how to write down your speech before you deliver it. We are not going to talk about how to deliver it, but how to prepare for your speech. How to write your speech before you present it. It's very, very important. On the other hand, since I have been very, very enthusiastic about teaching other people how to have written communications, no matter what kind, eventually during the presentation, I'm going to refer to other written communications, not only preparing for a Toastmaster speech. However, the main focus is how to prepare for a Toastmaster speech. Believe it or not, we spend an average of 2 to 3 hours preparing communication materials each day, yet most of us struggle to express ourselves in writing. We sometimes call it the writer's blocks. So why is that? Because we don't really do the right thing. But what can we do? We have to tap into our creativity when we start writing anything. I have to kindly remind you, when you were a child, you were very creative. And as we grow older, the creativity is somehow lost because we are nervous, because we are afraid. And that's what I would like to emphasize. We have to tap into our creativity. How are we going to do that? Easy. First and foremost, you have to think of possible ideas that you want to present during the Toastmaster meeting. Any possible ideas that you are passionate about, and then pick one. Next, you have to start writing as quickly as possible without editing, without changing anything. Just write as if you were not considering the spelling or punctuation. Do not edit while you are drafting, because that's what actually prevents your creativity. You are self-editing yourself, and that is not the right way to do it. When you write your speech for Toastmasters, the spelling and punctuation and grammar doesn't matter as much. But as I said, I'm going to refer to other documentations as well. But when you are drafting, ignore the spelling, the punctuation, and the grammar. It is not necessary. Revise it later. Let your document rest a little bit. You rest a little bit and revise it several times until satisfied. Until satisfied, underlined. What can we do? First of all, in the Toastmaster experience, we have wonderful resources, because using pathways, you have 11 modules to rely on, lots of educational material, what to do, how to prepare, what kind of form you can use to prepare. And you can go through the 5 levels from easier to more and more difficult. Every level has required project and elective project. And some of the elective projects are also very, very useful. Use these resources and make sure that you convey meaningful information while you are presenting something. Meaningful information for who? What do I mean by that? Any audience, whether it's reading your written communication or listening to your speech, any audience is going to think, what is in it for me? Why should I listen to Julie or Steve or whoever? What is in it for me? So the meaningful information has to be for your audience. Effective writing is simply good customer service. And who is your customer? Your reader and your listener. So you have to actually know your audience, who you are talking to or who you are writing for. Remember, effective writing is simply good customer service. Now, if you prepare your document for a speech, and it is even difficult for you to read, what will happen? You will stumble over the words and the sentences. And if a written document goes to an audience, a reader who will read the document, look at it, and if the document is difficult to read, where is it going to end up? In the wastebasket. So remember that if the document is difficult to read, it can confuse you and it can confuse your audience. What do you have to keep in mind? Give it a catchy title. Immediately when you present something, the title will have to be very juicy and very appetizing. So the people will say, oh, I want to hear more. The catchy title is good. Remember the 10-second rule. In the first 10 seconds, people are going to decide whether they are going to listen to you or not. And if it's a written document or, for instance, a resume, if it's not appealing in the first 10 seconds, it's not going to go anywhere. So don't be surprised. Starting with a grand opening is very, very good. A good question, a bold statement, or a visualization. I actually told you that in the beginning, before I started the presentation, that I made the mistake. I admit that I did not write down in preparation for my speech. I didn't write down anything, and my speeches were not good until Susan recommended me to write out the speech, because even she has been doing it, the experienced Toastmaster. To start with a statement, you can even use something. Can you imagine if you stand up and just, you are frozen? Oh, you don't want to do that. So these are the grand opening for you. Personal stories is very good. Very soon, I'm going to give a presentation on how I taught my children, my babies, to swim. And it's a real personal story. I'm not going to talk about only the books that I read, but personal stories. And people like stories. That's why we read books. That's why we go to the movies and see stories about people who never existed. We like stories, and personal stories are the best. And with a final message, because people want to know what is in it for them. After you finish your speech, after you finish your document, people are going to say, so now what? What should I do? That's a final message. It's important. Start with a catchy title and end with a catchy message. Well, believe it or not, writing is a process, and the end product is the document itself. If the process is good, guess what? The outcome will be good. But if the process is not good, you are not going to have a good product. And that's not what we want. Susan is watching the chat, so please ask questions. Writing is a process, I said. So what is the process? What kind of steps do we have to be involved in? The first step is planning what you are going to talk about or write about. At this point, you don't have to write down anything. Just think what you are going to want to pick as a subject. I usually think about that while I'm walking in the morning. What should I be talking about the next Toastmaster meeting? Think, and that's the planning session. This is where you can be creative. When you are going to the next step, it's the drafting. What does drafting mean? You scribble whatever comes to your brain, come out of your brain without editing, without stopping. Because as I said, if you just draft, you don't want to block your creative process. Somebody even recommended me, when you scribble your document on the computer, you can even black out your monitor so you don't have the temptation even to correct something. When you are done with the drafting, then you can go and revise it and edit it and move the one paragraph to the front and the front to the back. So you can manipulate. And this is such a good thing that you can do it with the computer. But before you finalize it, what do you see on the screen? Let it cool. We sometimes call it incubated. Let's sleep on it. That's an English expression. Don't rush it to finalize it. Just make sure that before you send it, everything is going to be just the way you want it to be. When you determine what you will write, you have to determine the purpose. Is it going to be information only, or you want the audience, the listeners, to actually do something? And you will have to actually make them feel whether the action that they need to perform is urgent or important, or not so urgent or not so important. You have to determine the purpose. And then, of course, you have to know who you are delivering the speech to. Who are they? What do they know? What do they need? And again, they have to feel whether the urgency is for them or for somebody else, or they can wait and see. Make sure that the audience will know what you want them to do. Now, of course, we write emails and resumes and trip reports and you name it, articles. I personally think that subject line is very, very important. I don't know how many of you are sending emails without the subject line. I really get goosebumps if the subject line is empty, because I don't know what the writer wants me to do. It has to maybe include the purpose. It's just like a headline or a title. Very useful. Does Susan have any questions? Not yet. Oh, remember the 10-second rule, especially in the resumes. I emphasize, if the resume is not very appetizing or attractive, then you won't get calls from the HR department. Prime location, or prime real estate, I call it, are the places where people look first in the beginning. Very, very important. I refer to resumes because the resumes up front will have to say what you can offer to the company that you are applying the job for. And I really offer my help with resume writing as well. Any document, as you probably learned at school, will have to have a start. This is what I'm going to tell you. will have to have an end. This is what I have just told you. And in the beginning, of course, you have to tell the whole thing, the main points. Sometimes an executive summary or a table of contents are very appropriate. Don't overload the audience with lots of background information. Rather attach a link or refer to something or offer your help for later. But don't overload the audience. Remember that writing is a creative process. Use your ideas without criticizing yourself. Make notes and think and write as quickly as possible without editing, and then let it cool before you finalize. Now, what do we mean by before finalizing? I will give you the 3 C's. What is that? Before you send the document on its way or deliver your speech, you have to ask yourself, is it clear enough what I want to convey? Is it clear enough? What is the second C? Is it concise? You know that in Toastmasters, we are timing you. And we really encourage you to stay within the timeline. It is very helpful that Susan is showing me the green sign by now, so I know where I am. And lastly, not for Toastmaster speech preparation, but when in any written thing, you have to make sure that it's correct. Grammar, punctuation, and spelling. If you send a resume with mistakes, your chance is that they are not going to like you. If you send an email spelling a name wrong, don't be surprised that they are not going to meet you with open arms. So this is the 3 C's, check and revise. I am going to ask now, just for a few seconds, are there any questions, burning questions, before I show you a few slides that are not that important? Any questions?
Julie, we do have one question in the chat.
And Kalpana, what is it?
Kalpana is asking, how do we build ideas for our speech in line with our purpose, especially for the Toastmasters Pathway Project speeches?
How do we build? Say it again. How do we build?
Ideas.
Ideas. Well, I would say start to brainstorm with yourself. Most likely, anything that you feel you are comfortable with, you have to pick something. We sometimes call it, we have to earn the right to talk about it. You don't talk about something that you have absolutely no idea about. Brainstorm until you find a subject that you feel comfortable, and not only comfortable, but enthusiastic about sharing the idea. The educational segments of pathways are very, very good. And you may get some good ideas even from the forms that you can find in the Toastmaster education. Anything else, Susan? No?
No, but we do have Namita raising her hand.
Yes, Anita.
Thank you so much, Susan and Julie. My question is, I have a problem of starting a speech. I've selected a level, I've selected a pathway, I've selected a project, but I don't know where to start from. So can you help me out with that?
Yes, yes. Definitely, you don't think about the starting. You just start to write whatever comes to your mind without thinking whether it's going to be the beginning or the end. Just write down some thoughts that come instinctively to your head. Write them down. And when you have a page long or 2 pages long notes, then you can say, where should I start? What would be a catchy beginning? So don't decide upfront. Many people, famous writers, don't even give a title until the whole novel is finished. Okay. So.
And Toastmaster Julie, we have
Yes.
one more question from Toastmaster Diana. And she
Yes.
says, when to start write of her story? When can she start writing her story?
Which story I'm talking about?
She wants to write her life story.
Oh boy, that's a good question because I have already written my own memoir. You can write it at any time when you feel like it, but definitely write when you have the time. I know that I continually had journals or diaries where I had some quick notes. And when I retired, I started to write my memoir. And by now I am done with 300 pages. But I went back to my notes, and that's how I put together the whole thing. Again, I didn't put them in sequence at all. I wrote the memoir and then I shuffled them around because the creative process is you have to write as you think about it, okay?
Julie, we are at 22.5 minutes.
Yes, I am going to finish it, and I will tell you that there are a few charts that are in my presentation, and I am going to make it available because you can actually look at it, and sometimes you find useful tips, like how long should a paragraph be, the sentence length, and so on and so forth. And some final message, you have to follow the process. Don't think too much, just write and remember the tips and use the resources, the TI website, the dictionary, style guide, and etiquette, and use Julie's Salgo because I would be as a resource for you at any time. I really appreciate your attention. I know I ran out of time, but I offer my help after hours at any time, free of charge. Back to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. That was a wonderful speech. I thoroughly enjoyed, and I know what to write and how to write now, Julie. Thank you for that. Yes, so we are back to our dance theme. We know first item that we would need is body. Second one is an action. Let me ask this question to Piyush. Piyush, how would you express your joy when you know that you got your dream job? You don't have to speak. You have to just vent it out with. See, that is what he's going to tell us. That is the action. Yes, when we are happy, we show it with our action. When we are more happy, we might start swinging like this. This is what a performer will do with the dance as well. They talk about some actions. Usually, these are choreographed actions, but then they indicate some kind of event or action which will be for the audience to understand, like a joy or a sadness or an enthusiasm or a surprise. Any element that comes out will be from these actions. Then third one that is needed is the space for the dancer. We can perform it based upon the stage that is provided for them, or can be from the, now the life has moved on to online, so we might need very small window to showcase our performance or our dance, but then space is one of the important element for any dancer to perform. With that, we will move on to the next segment of our meeting today, that is the table topic segment. And to help with table topics, I have Toastmaster Raghu. Toastmaster Raghu, the stage is yours for TTM.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Kalpana. Table topics is a section for husbands to prepare for those questions that your wives throw at you at when you don't even expect them. We are preparing you for those. I mean, there is a new section that we are starting in Interpersonal Toastmasters, training for husbands. Never mind, it's for each and every person. You never know whether it is your spouse, whether it is your boyfriend, girlfriend, or your boss, anybody can ask you a question impromptu, especially the kids. They can't stop. They don't just stop when they start. So to prepare you for those moments, and the best first impression is the best impression, and we'll are going to practice together for that section. So let's have some fun at table topics today. So who is coming first? Raise your hand and then we'll have fun. Diana, I'll give you a question and then you can start. Now, Piyush, didn't hear you so far speaking. Do you want to start?
Sure.
What is the best piece of advice you have ever heard? What is the best piece of advice you have ever heard?
Let me start. There are a lot of people around you who teach you something or the other. Like you have your friends. Some of friends are like gurus. They will, excuse me, teach you tips on like dating, how to behave with certain professor when you are in college, how to get grades in certain subjects. And then there are friends, they are really good mentors, manager when you are in a company. And everyone gives you like bits of advice that shapes you and helps you become the person you want to be or the professional you want to be. So it's really hard to like pick among the kind of advices I have received so far that were given by my friends, my mentors, my family, even my kids. Sometimes you would be very surprised. Your small little kid will teach you something. And given that I have to pick one, I'll probably pick one advice that my grandfather, my late grandfather gave me. So he used to tell a story like, and there's a Hindi idiom, and I'll try to translate it. Apologize if it doesn't come really well. So it says, when you're walking in a market, or you know, when an elephant walks in a market, a lot of dogs that barks at the elephant, but the elephant doesn't respond. So it's like there are really people always saying something good or bad, but you listen to everybody and use your mind and pick the right thing that you have to do. Don't pay attention to each and everything that all the people throws around you. So that's one best piece of advice that I could remember. Thank you.
Thank you, Piyush. Stephen. Okay. Now, your brain is split into two. I say switch, and you need to talk in two tones. First is on the topic, rather for the topic. Second, when I say switch, you need to talk on opposites of the topic. Okay?
Okay. Got
the topic, yeah. I'll keep saying in between, so you need to listen to me and then this switch your whatever speaking on. Honesty is the best policy. Stephen, honesty is the best policy. You're on mute.
Thank you. Honesty is the best policy. This is what everybody tells me, but does it apply? Well, you know, we have to find out. Until we learn our lesson, that's when we really find out how it works. So for me, when I finally learned my lesson, when I was growing up, finding that honesty is the best policy for me to really apply it, because as a kid, sometimes I say things that I just want to, because I want to get something. that's where I learn from. And growing up,
Switch.
there's many lessons. Sorry, switch to the
Switch.
opposite. Yeah, honesty doesn't work well for me because I don't get what I want. This is terrible, terrible idea. So I don't want to be honest. I want to tell people what they want to hear. So this way I can get what I want whenever I want it. And well,
Switch.
on this honesty, oh man, I'm Steven. So I will tell you whatever that is, what it means to me, and it's true to me. I am all about honesty. I will not tell a lie, even if you put a gun to my head. I will not do so. What else? This is tough. I learned that it's whenever when we don't follow the rule, this
Switch.
is when we get in trouble. Be honest. Oh my God. How can I be honest when the woman asks me if they look pretty or not, and it's hard for me to say the real thing when the truth hurts. So I want to soften it a little bit. Hopefully one day they will realize themselves and do things that will help themselves. And I will not be the one that tell them to help themselves.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you. That's a brain twister for me. Thank you very much for explaining, reaching out the deep.
Thank you very much. Jim, do you want to go next?
Sure, thank you. Yes.
Why do empty vessels make more noise? Why do empty vessels make more noise, Jim?
Why do empty vessels make more noise? I believe that statement means that a person who is not sure of himself or herself, but is trying to impress other people, I think that's what that statement means. For example, if I'm in a job interview and I'm going for a position that I'm not qualified for really, but I'm going for it because it sounds prestigious. I'm going to a tech company to be the first vice president, but I have no experience in that field. I'm going to try my best to make an impression, to make the interviewer think that I know what I'm talking about. And empty vessels are those who will sometimes say a lot to try to convince other people that they have something to offer when they really don't. When the better course of action would have been to just say, okay, this may not be for me, this might not be my best fit, let me do what I'm more fitted to do and just leave it there. That's my take on that situation. Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much, Jim. Namita, what is a song that will make you dance by heart, by your mind, any point of time, any point of your life? Tell me that song that can make you dance any point of your life.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raghu. Your table topic has put me at sea. I'm really confused what to say because I listen to a lot of songs, but I don't dance at all. Don't get me wrong, I don't dance in public. in private, I sing, I dance. And if somebody were living with me, that person would have been annoyed to their core. So the song that I would like to dance is something few of you here might not have heard about because it's a Hindi song. It's called Char Baj Gaye, Lekin Party Abhi Baki Hai, which means it's already 4 a.m. still the party is pending. The lyrics is something about, you know, I am partying, but my dad is very upset because it's still 4 a.m. I'm out of the house. I'm drunk and I'm partying. That is exactly the lyrics of the song. It's a very fun song. It's from an old, not a very old movie, but not from a recent movie. And that is the song. Whenever it gets played, I feel really happy. I feel enthusiastic. I'll be very bored in the day. I will play it and I'll be cooking and I'll start singing and dancing by myself. So I would say, yeah, that is a song that you asked about. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Namita. Imran, can I have your video audio on?
Hi all, good morning. Imran here. Sorry, Raghi, I could not open my video.
No problem. No problem, Imran. The topic for you is, why is grass greener on other side? Why is grass greener on other side? Toastmaster Imran.
First of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to this Toastmaster Cup. So my topic is, why is grass green on other side? Correct? So obviously, if you look the flip side of the grass, it will be not green. And I will tell you the story on this topic. Whenever green grass is there, and the goat and the sheep come over there only. If you don't find anything related to green grass, the goat and the animals will not go to that area. So there should be greenery if you want something. So there should be crispy if you want something over to the grass. So grass should be green only. Otherwise, people will not catch you and animals will not come to your area. So that's the reason it's very important to be greenery every time, everywhere in your personal and professional life also. So that's it from my end. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Imran. I hope you enjoyed this section, and especially
yes.
the husbands in the room, or rather the people who are yet to get married. You'll understand after marriage. So I asked Diana what is her best birthday, and she told it's a beautiful to park fresh air in the environment, community, the whole world, the billions of people are living billionaires. The tree is the way, the leaf from bow away. Birds fly in a blue sky. Thank you, Diana, for that response. With that note, I pass the control back to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Kalpana. While she's up and running an errand, I invite evaluator Toastmaster Namita to go ahead with her evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Raghu. Now, your speech, Toastmaster Julie, it was really eye-opening for me. I'll tell you why. I've been struggling to start my speech since few days or few months now. I was stuck at what project and level I should speak in my pathway. People are giving me a lot of ideas. You try this, you try that. I got really confused. Yesterday night also I asked the Toastmaster what to do to get over this writer's block, or to say mind block. Now, how is that related to your speech today? I'll tell you why. Your speech was very informative. The content was very good. It was well articulated, well organized. Whatever was needed was only in one slide. And your tone was pleasant. I was interested in your speech. Why? Because I wanted to know how to improve, write, or start my speech. And I'm sure few others here also felt the same way. And I took a lot of notes. But here's what I found that can be improved in this speech of yours, which is give more time to Q&A. I had one more question. There was no time for it. Second thing is that your content can be reduced a bit because you were going to be overtimed. I'm not sure if you were, you gave your speech over time. Your speech was really lengthy. Content was good. It was articulated, but the speech was really lengthy. There were some slides I could not even take screenshot of. And I would like to revisit those points in future for any of the speeches I give. And another thing which I usually recommend is visuals. Now, let me give you an idea of visuals in your speech. You said that write down the ideas you want to give for your speech. Write down the ideas for your speech. For example, if my speech is about leadership, my leadership style, and what leadership I look forward to, I will show Steve Jobs, I will show Kalpana Chawla, I will show my mom and dad. These are the 4 leaders I look up to. And which one should I take from this? What you said is to write down the ideas and pick one that you want to focus on. I'll focus on whom? I'll focus on Steve Jobs. That is my idea. So you could have utilized that visuals because some people relate to the words, some people relate to the way you speak. They are more attentive to that. Some people visualize using pictures. So pictures speak a lot. And that is what I would say you can improve upon. So overall, to summarize, I would say is that good speech, good content, very articulate, but there is scope of improvement. You have to maintain your time management and you have to give more Q&A, area for Q&A, and you can use visuals. So thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Kalpana.
Thank you, Toastmaster Namita. May I now request the grammarian for today, Toastmaster Viveka, to please share her report? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I will please excuse me for my being on and off throughout the season. So yeah, good usage of English were articulated. I really like the word revisit, memo, scribble. Let's sleep on it, as Julie has mentioned the meaning of it. It's say. It's not opportunity, it's opportunity. It's errand. The right pronunciation of errand is errand. And yeah, sorry, I have missed most of the part. I'm really sorry about it. There was some problem with the system. I don't know, with my laptop or phone or with the Zoom. So yeah, this is what it is. Thank you, Kalpana, and thank you, everyone. Julie, I really liked your speech. I missed most of the part, but the part that I listened to, it was amazing. Thank you for it.
Thank you, Toastmaster Viveka. May I now request Toastmaster Swati to please share the counter report?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So in today's meeting, we did fairly good. So I would go upon the counts of each R's and Ums of each and every individual. Kalpana, you had 1 Yuli had 2 R's. Viveka had 4 R's. Stephen had 1 R. And Namita had 2 R's. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Swati. Next, we will go through the last 2 elements of dance. The 4th element of dance is time. Yes, time is the key element of dance and it relates to the rhythm of the movements. Every performer will ensure that based upon the music bits, the performance is going on. And above all, the 5th element is the energy. Yes, the final element of dance is the energy, which speaks about how the dancers move through the space and time. Dancers can there use their performance and their dance to showcase the technique to ensure that at the end of their performance, we'll feel the energy that they are displaying in that particular form. So I would like to tell you all that dance the movement of body in a rhythmic way, usually to music and within a given space for the purpose of expressing the ideas or emotions, releasing energy, or simply taking the delight of the moment itself. Remember, dance is the way you express your feelings, the way you express your joy, the way you express the moment that is happening to you. And hence, dance is the poetry of your life. Let it flow with high energy. With this, I would like to hand over the stage back to the presiding officer for today, Toastmaster Raghu.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Kalpana. Can we have a big round
I'm
of applause?
sorry, I forgot to take the timing report. My apologies. Can I
No
ask
problem.
timer to please share the report?
Thank you. I thought you were going to give me the best part of this, as you said in dance, the timing and the energy. So here I am. I'll bring the energy to the timing report today. Julie, your goal was 15 to 20 minutes, and it ran 23 minutes and 35 seconds. In the table topics, we had Piyush, 1 minute 56 seconds. The goal is 1 to 2 minutes. Stephen, 2 minutes and 16. Jim, 1 minute 49. Namita, 1 minute 15. And Imran, 1 minute and 3 seconds. On the evaluation, the goal is 2 to 3 minutes. And Namita, you spoke for 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Everyone was within time today, except for our featured speaker, but we know that the valued information was there. It's only a wee little bit over. So back to you, Raghu.
Thank you, Susan. I love that, Stephen. I hope we have learned something for today that we will take back as a learning for our professional or personal life, whether it is from the Toastmaster of the day or from our featured speaker, Toastmaster Jolie. I wish you all the best in that sphere, but right now we are not stopping. We are just stopping the